I arrived at the party in the Hollywood Hills just after midnight. The energy was electric from the start. You knew it was a Diddy party when you saw the sea of luxury cars lining the driveway, and the house lit up like a beacon. Inside, the air was thick with anticipation, a mix of the pulsating music and whispered stories that had floated around the industry for years about these infamous gatherings. Tonight, I'd see for myself what really went down at one of Diddy's freak-offs. The first thing that struck me was the sheer opulence of it all. Giant crystal chandeliers cast a soft glow over plush velvet couches, a marble bar stocked with champagne and top-shelf liquor, and of course an entire team of staff making sure every detail was perfect. The attendees were a who's who of Hollywood, A-list actors, Grammy-winning musicians, and even some influential business moguls. There was no shortage of star power here, and they all mingled as if this was just another regular night in their glamorous lives. I spotted Cassie in a corner, her beauty effortless, but there was something off about her vibe. She wasn't the center of attention like you'd expect from someone with her status. Instead, she moved cautiously, staying close to the shadows. Rumors had circulated for years about her tumultuous relationship with Diddy, the control he allegedly exerted over her, the whispers of manipulation, even accusations of abuse. But here she was, smiling for the cameras when they pointed her way, before retreating to the background when the lenses moved on. The whispers grew louder after their breakup, with Cassie allegedly accusing Diddy of emotional manipulation and more behind closed doors. A couple of rooms away, the party had started to take a different turn. Guests who had arrived dressed to impress in designer suits and gowns began to slip away, reappearing in more revealing outfits: lingerie, leather, and lace. The music shifted too, from upbeat hip-hop to something slower, more seductive. This was the moment I realized I was in the midst of what many in the industry had only whispered about. Diddy's infamous private parties were not just for dancing and sipping champagne. They were for something much darker, much more intimate. The infamous baby oil room wasn't just a rumor, I saw it with my own eyes. The door was slightly ajar, revealing a space dimly lit with red lights where bodies glistened under the sheen of baby oil, writhing together in a haze of sweat and luxury. The sounds, low moans, whispered propositions, made it clear this was no ordinary party. Some people participated willingly. Others watched from the sidelines, drawn in by a mix of curiosity and fear. There were always rumors that things could get out of hand at these parties, that lines were crossed. For years, stories had circulated about women being invited to these events and then allegedly finding themselves in compromising situations. The atmosphere made it easy to believe. Diddy, always the consummate host, floated through the rooms, making sure everyone was having a good time. He had this way of controlling the environment without ever seeming too involved. People were there to please him. The way he moved through the space, it felt like he had set up an entire world here, one where the normal rules didn't apply. He wasn't alone, though. In every room there were whispers about what had gone down at past parties. Some said there were power imbalances, that the real allure of these gatherings was the level of control Diddy had over the attendees, especially the women. There were others there too, big names like Usher, who had his own stories tied to Diddy. He was once mentored by Diddy as a young teen and had lived with him. Usher himself has opened up in interviews about how wild those days were, but he's always been vague about just how wild things got. It didn't take much imagination being in this space to picture what could have gone down back then. The night wore on, and the boundaries between what was acceptable and what was questionable blurred more and more. What started as a night of luxury had turned into something far more sinister. While some people partied in ignorance, laughing and dancing, others were caught up in moments they probably never expected when they first walked through those grand doors. Some attendees looked like they were in over their heads, and a few left the party early, whispering among themselves, perhaps realizing what they had just experienced. As I made my way out, the night felt surreal, a strange mix of glamour and something darker. Diddy's smile was still plastered on his face as he said goodbye to the guests, as if none of what I had seen was out of the ordinary. To him, maybe it wasn't. This was his world, and he was in control. But for those who had heard the stories, seen the hints of trouble beneath the surface, this party was just another piece of a larger, unsettling puzzle.